Hello everyone, and welcome back to Trans Am Season 3. This is the fourth round of the championship at Monza, and this is going to be a very cool one. But before we get into it, we'll have a look at the championship standings after the first three rounds. We've got John Tita in the championship lead, all but has wrapped it up. Artsy is the only one who can possibly compete if he clean sweeps the last two rounds, but we'll see how that goes. That could all go wrong right here in qualifying if he doesn't get pole position and the point there, but we'll hope for the best for Artsy this round. But yeah, that is really the only talking point championship wise, but we do have a fairly large field for this one. I think the largest field of the season. We have Sparrow back, which is absolutely awesome. We have Yad on the grid for the first time. Unfortunately, Ash is not here for this round, and Heafy was meant to be here, but he actually had a power blackout just before the race started, so could not join for obvious reasons. He was even in the lobby ready to start the race, and then suddenly disappeared. So yeah, that was a real shame, but these things happen from time to time. Can't control it, so that's just unfortunate. But anyway, we are well on our way around our qualifying lap here at Monza, heading through Lesmo number 2 onto the back straight towards the Ascari chicane. Been an alright lap so far. It's coming together okay. I'm aiming for maybe a low 54, a high 53 if it's a really good lap. That's really, I think, the peak of what I'm able to do in this car. Driving the Chevy Nova for this one, it's technically not a regular road car. It's one of those tuner cars that were... what did they do? They won the Gran Turismo award or something at the SEMA show, and yeah, have made it into the game through that. So yeah, it is legal to race in this series, being a 1960s muscle car, so I thought I'd give it a crack here. Joken used it back at Blue Moon Bay. Didn't have the greatest run, so we'll see how we go here. Hopefully we can find some decent pace. It's a 54 flat on our first flying lap. On our second flying lap we were finding great time, but made an absolute mess of Ascari. Could have easily gotten a 53 if I just got the lap together, but unfortunately, yeah, we picked up a penalty. Couldn't even serve it, so that completely invalidates this lap. If you pick up a penalty too close to that penalty line that we just crossed, you will have to serve it on the following lap, which in qualifying absolutely sucks because it ruins your current lap and your next one. But it doesn't really make a difference in this case because this is our final lap anyway. The time has hit 0. We'll cross the line. The time we set in the first lap was a 54 flat, and that is what we are going to have to stick with. It doesn't look too bad at the moment. Currently up in P6, which would be awesome. We drop into P7 and we'll probably drop further places. Joken and Ferbs are up to their old tricks, not doing any laps in qualifying. Back to their old ways. Uncle Pete is the only one out on track behind us in the standings at the moment, so we'll see if he can improve. But at the moment we are holding on to 8th position, and if I did my actual best lap, or theoretical best lap, I think it was a 53.3, so you know, if I could have gone 7/10 faster, that would have really pushed me a couple of positions up the order, at least ahead of J-Dog, as Uncle Pete jumps between us. So yeah, we probably could have been P6 if I got my best lap together, but unfortunately just a few mistakes on each lap prevented that from happening. But overall I'm pretty happy with that qualifying performance. A 34 flat is one of the better laps I've done around here, so I'm not too disappointed by that. So yeah, Artsy does grab the pole position, so technically speaking that championship fight does remain alive, but we'll have to see if he can hold on to it in the race this time. He took pole for the first round of the championship, Also of note, look at John Teeter in the Plymouth Superbird for this round. That is absolutely awesome to see. Can't wait to see how that thing goes over a race distance. But for now, let's just get into the race. I imagine a lot of the others will be starting on the medium compound tyres. I feel like getting a bit racy at the start, so I'm going to start on the softs because I know I can have some alright pace here at Monza. So I'm going to hope that things can go well for us here as we get ready to go racing for the 4th round of the Trans Am Championship here at Monza. Let's run through the starting grid and we'll find out what strategy people are employing in terms of their starting tyres. Artsy starts on pole position, going aggressive on the soft compound tyres, hoping to get away from the field behind. Banana Lotto starts in P2 on the mediums. Same can be said for Jester, starting out of 3rd position. Starting out of P4, John Teeter in the Superbird on the soft tyres, hoping to get a quick getaway in that very boatish car. Same can be said for Sparrow in the non-engine swapped non-Superflow Camaro. Very unusual to see from Sparrow, but great to have him back in the series. Also, the medium tyres on for J-Dog there, and also for Uncle Pete. Soft tyres for myself, and let's talk a little bit about this livery. Got a map of Monza, got the Leaning Tower of Pisa, the Colosseum, a massive pizza on the front. Could you get more Italian? And I decided to put a little bit of Roman in it as well, with Jupiter on the back, and I think on the windshield banner as well, and a little bit of my own silliness with the Ouagadougou on the rear wing. But anyway, we've also got rounding off the field those who did not put a lap in qualifying. Yad starting out of P9, Jerk in P10, and Ferbs in P11, all starting on the medium compound tyres. Who knows what kinds of strategies they'll be pulling out. It always seems to work well. They'll always figure something out. But anyway, the 5 red lights are on. And we are underway for the 4th round of the Trans Am Championship Season 3. And it's a rocket ship launch off the start. We blaze past J-Dog and Teeter. Straight past Banana Notto as well, who started 2nd in this race. A terrible getaway. But as we head down into the first corner, we're up into P3. And Jester goes for the move down the inside, gets it done, and moves from 3rd to 1st. We've moved from 8th to 3rd, so some big movers already in this race. Artsy trying to come back at Jester though, already through Curva Grande. Remember, Artsy on the softer compound of tyres, so there's gonna be a little bit of friction as they continue throughout this lap, but Jester is very much trying to keep Artsy at bay as we head into the Della Roger chicane. Jester goes deep, Artsy tries to get through, and contact. Artsy off the road now, comes back on right in front of us. Bit of contact, we skate through, and we're suddenly into the race lead. From 8th on the grid in less than half a lap, we've found ourselves all the way up into 1st place. What a start this has been. I am in disbelief. That could not have played out any better for us. Unfortunate for Jester and Artsy, who came together. They still maintain 2nd and 3rd place, so they've managed to continue without losing too much time. But let's see how this all started. We'll go on board with Jester right from the start, and we'll first check out that overtake into the first corner, because even that was something special. Jester on the mediums, Artsy on the softs. Jester goes for the move down the inside, aggressive, but gets it done cleanly. And a very late decision to get that move done, and yeah, very nice and clean through there. And now into the chicane, just got in too deep, turned it in early to the apex, just about kept it on the road, but came across very aggressively. Artsy could not avoid, and as Artsy came back on the track, we had no chance of avoiding. We ping-ponged into Jester's car, and that was really all there was to it. Just an unfortunate sequence of events there, really. Yeah, it's not particularly anyone's fault, but Artsy able to get back through on Jester in the end there on the softer tyre compound. Let's check out the start from the Banana Man from 2nd on the grid. Just a very slow getaway immediately. Drops well behind Jester. I look back on the replay at a terrible time here. By the time we look forwards, we're already well clear. J-Dog carrying great speed, has to dodge as we were a little bit early on the brakes. J-Dog a little bit more aggressive into the first corner. Thankfully, we don't get ploughed out of the race. And J-Dog, with some very good reactions there, keeps it on the road and maintains the position all the same. So some great driving there from J-Dog as Sparrow goes for the move, drifting around Curva Grande to get past Banana, who's now dropped a long way down the field. And Tita goes for the move as well down the inside. So things are just getting worse. There's Uncle Pete too. So things have gone from bad to worse off the start for Banana, but he finally manages to hold on to that position without losing any more. Here's the start from John Tita, who also got probably the slowest getaway of anyone, but built up the speed nicely. Boxed in Sparrow there behind Banana and made the move nicely down the inside. Saw almost was 3 wide there. That almost could have been very awkward, but they're just about able to get through there cleanly, and just couldn't get the power down as nicely as Sparrow on the inside. And then yeah, had to make the move down the inside of Banana into the Della Roger chicane, and got that done very, very nicely. But yeah, a pretty chaotic start, pretty well managed at the first corner. Got a little bit hectic at the Della Roger chicane as J-Dog got a bit out of shape there as well. So yeah, that allowed Sparrow through, and now Tita might be looking for the move down the inside into Lesmo number 2. Sparrow almost having a look at Jester and Artsy, but not finding a way through there as J-Dog gets a switchback and gets the power down really nicely, clearly burning some of the richer fuel mixes there to have that kind of straight line speed, but gets the move done back up into the top 5. Here's the onboard with Sparrow from the start in this very lovely sounding Camaro with the original engine in this one. Same engine as we had back in Tokyo. Let's hope Sparrow can have a better race here than we did back there. But anyway, nice and smooth through the first couple of corners, and was just able to take advantage of any sort of little mishaps anyone else had. Sparrow was able to get through. Huge slide through what is a fairly easy flat corner, generally speaking. Obviously in some old muscle cars that doesn't quite apply. J-Dog got a bit deep into the Della Roger chicane. Massive slide for Sparrow there as well, but was still able to capitalise. Can't imagine Sparrow's rear tyres will be too good by the end of the stint though, with that kind of sliding, and then had a nice run here, but just couldn't quite take advantage of that side-by-side moment between Jester and Artsy there. But still a fantastic start from Sparrow, P7 up to P4. We'll go on board now with J-Dog to see that start. We were a little bit cheeky. I didn't want to go too far off to the right and use too much of that extra space, but I saw, you know, as I was making that move, J-Dog was coming across as well because Tita had that bad start. There's the dodge into the first corner as we were a bit slow, so that all got a little bit hectic, but everyone, you know, handled that pretty well, I think. And yeah, got through without incident. But yeah, that was only the first piece of the puzzle, as it would turn out on this first lap. J-Dog off the road there through Curva Grande, running it out very wide, but keeps it under control there. That could actually have contributed to going a bit deep at the Della Roger chicane on dirty tyres perhaps. But anyway, here's the start on board with Jokin, very slow off the line as Ferbs and Yad are running it into the first corner. Ferbs down the inside and gets the move done nice and cleanly there as Jokin gets a bit of a switchback on Yad here. Maybe going to try and make the move through Curva Grande, opts for the little push instead, and keeps Yad in front for the time being. So these three may be working together at the back of the field, but Ferbs has already gained 2 places in that Camaro. That remember, he finished second in that car back in Tokyo, and I looked at the stats. Ferbs' best result in a Trans Am race before that was 5th. So expect great things from Ferbs in that Camaro. I believe that is no coincidence. That Camaro, there's something special in that car. So we'll see how it goes in today's race here at Monza. But we finally go back on board with myself to see the end of the first lap. Unfortunately, the race lead doesn't last too long. Artsy on the soft tyres, burning some higher fuel mixes there to generate a bit of straight line speed out of the Ascari chicane. Gets it done easily into Parabolic. We throw it in around the outside just to try and get a bit of extra mid-corner speed without risking any contact with Artsy, but that battle is essentially over at this point as Pete was getting it a bit sideways out of Ascari, and that allowed Ferbs to get the move done as Yad and Jokin are running it side by side. Jokin gets through and moves up into P10. Yad drops down to the back and into 11th position, but I think both Ferbs and Yad are going to be in this lap to get rid of those medium compound tyres, and they're going to be going for a bit of an unorthodox strategy, but very much a Ferbs strategy. Get the medium tyres out of the way, one lap on those, and spend the rest of the race on the soft tyres rather, even if it means an extra pit stop. Which actually brings me to the downside of my car and certain other cars. That the one stop is, well, literally impossible. It's just to get the move done and down the inside into the first chicane. But yeah, the one stop is literally impossible in this car. Even if I use maximum fuel save in map 6, I can only get about 8 laps out of a tank of fuel. So yeah, it's really not feasible for me. The best I can do is a 2-stop and just try and minimize the time on those medium compound tires, which is more or less what I'm going to do. As we continue to carry on, Jokin will make the move and get ahead of Yad there as Jokin continues on those medium compound tires. So different strategies between Jokin and Ferbs, who both start at the back of the field, and it'll be interesting to see where they are come at the end of the race. But meanwhile, Sparrow getting a bit out of shape there. Not sure if there was a bit of contact from behind with J-Dog in pursuit, but looks like J-Dog's keen to get racy here down the inside. Moves up into 4th place as Sparrow slots in behind Tita, getting involved now, and Sparrow wide off the road into the gravel for Sparrow, and that is a real shame. He was running well in this race up until that point, but yeah, that's a very unfortunate moment there, and I don't think that came without assistance, so we'll have to have a look at a replay. Pete going through as well, so Sparrow dumping a whole bunch of places as they run side by side into Ascari. Sparrow trying to get back through, falls on the anchors though. That's Pete sweep around the outside. But here's the onboard with Sparrow to see how all that started. Bit of awkward contact a couple of times there with J-Dog, which is what kind of set off the whole initial chain of events, but J-Dog got down the inside. There's probably a little bit of lag in that, to be completely fair. And then the same can probably be said with John Tita here, straight into the back of Sparrow. And yeah, Sparrow gets sent off the road into the gravel. And yeah, that's very much unfortunate for Sparrow there. So yeah, real shame, but he'll carry on and try and recover a few positions in this race. But that's a lot of time lost right there in what is a very, very flat-out race here at Monza. Goes for the big dive down the inside of Pete, but then really hauls on the anchors to get it stopped into the Ascari chicane, and ultimately doesn't make that move as Pete gets it all kinds of sideways on the exit again there, and that allows Sparrow to get the run on the exit and get back through alongside, and eventually ahead of Uncle Pete once more, heading towards Parabolica. But anyway, on board now with J-Dog once more, going a bit deep into the Della Roger chicane once again, and that allows Tita to get the run, making the move down the inside, and the two Lagmeisters once again run side by side through the Lesmos. This time Tita will come out on top. But anyway, back on board with myself as we head towards the Ascari chicane on lap number 3, setting a purple sector there, which is very nice. But Jester off the road, and that's going to give us second position. Just like that, things have changed again in this race, and a big mistake there from Jester, and the start of this race has not gone well. And we'll have to see a replay to see exactly what happened there. No other cars around, so this is another mistake from Jester, just running it too deep into the Ascari chicane and straight off into the gravel. And yeah, there's no recovery from that kind of moment. You just have to take the time loss as you slowly meander back onto the track. But anyway, also exit of Ascari, we got Joken with the run on Bananotto, and Joken is charging through the field at the moment, and another position gained for Joken there, and moves up into the top 6 now. So it's been a great start to the race for Joken, and is halfway through the field. 5 cars in front, 5 cars behind. But the battles continue as J-Dog and Joken are going to fight it out through Curva Grande. Joken trying to make the move around the outside. Risky place to put it because J-Dog's been using all the millimeters there. But Joken thankfully doesn't hang it all the way around the outside. And now J-Dog into the Ascari chicane, and he's got cars all over him. And J-Dog, I think, just pulls out of the way there and lets this bunch of crazy drivers through, slots in behind. Probably a wise choice. And you know, we'll just carry on with his own race and tag along with that group now. But anyway, as we carry on, bit of a moment on the exit of Lesmo number 2 for us, and now we have Jester steadily closing that margin. Not too concerned about being overtaken just now, but Jester will be catching up very soon as, oh, hit from behind, and Jester's actually run straight into us there, and I had no clue that was coming. We'll have to see that one on replay as well, as I think now Tita's got the run on Jester, but that very much surprised me. Thankfully this car's quite balanced, so we weren't really at risk of spinning. But here's the replay on board with Jester. A hesitant look down the inside, and then a bit of a sand over the curbs last minute. The curbs probably didn't help, and yeah, just a bit of contact, but no harm done, we carry on. But yeah, Jester really trying to stick the nose in at the last minute, even well after the apex there. But I also will admit, I initially actually turned into that corner very early, and realised I was about to cut the corner, so sort of backed out of it. So my line into that corner was a little bit messy as well, which certainly could have compounded things. Along with that, I got a bad exit. So that was a combination of a lot of things, along with the frustration building for Jester after a few mistakes at the start. But Jester's into the pits now for some soft compound tyres. I'm sure they will feel much, much nicer on the Corvette. But anyway, now we look to the back straight once more as Sparrow has moved ahead of the Banana Man as they head towards the Ascari chicane. Sparrow's moved up and into P6, but has a penalty to serve, so may lose that position along the next straight. We've got the penalty line coming up right now, so it'll be interesting to see if Sparrow can hold on to this position. Banana Man is closing, but looks like Sparrow might just have enough to hold on, and actually manages to do that, so no position lost there. Sparrow's able to carry on in that position, so very good. Can carry on. Whoa, Uncle Pete, all kinds of sideways out of the Ascari chicane there. Wow, trying to win the fans vote there. But anyway, to the first corner, and Sparrow off the road, and a bit of a spin there, and not exactly sure what caused that. Gets going again, but drops a couple of positions after just making that overtake. Drops into P7 now. So we'll go on board and just listen to this. Locks up rather suddenly. Not sure if he either pulled the handbrake to get it turned, or got a bit of a lag bump of some kind there from one of the cars behind. But something a little bit weird happened there. Not exactly sure what. But anyway, J-Dog's having a bit of an interesting race so far, making the move now on Bananotto and getting through there. So position gained for J-Dog as we go on board with Uncle Pete, and that is Furby coming through after that pit stop on lap 1. Starts picking up the places once again, so already that strategy to spend more time on the soft compound tyres might starting to be looking good. But we'll see how it goes over the course of the race as we watch J-Dog have a bit of a moment there at the Ascari. Banana Notto gets through all out of shape on the exit for J-Dog, and that's going to give Sparrow the run, and Sparrow might have a chance to get this move done as they run up towards Parabolica. This is eerily similar to what happened just a couple of laps ago with myself, Jester and Tita, but this time Sparrow gets the move done around the outside of J-Dog. But even to the way J-Dog had a wobble on the exit curb at Ascari, very similar to Jester. But anyway, let's have a little run through the running order now that I've gotten the first few laps out of the way. Artsy still leads the way ahead of myself under no small amount of pressure from John Tita behind, running in 3rd position. Then it's Joker, who's climbed all the way out from 4th after starting down in P10, dropping to 11th on the first lap. Then it's Banana Notto ahead of Sparrow and J-Dog next in the queue. Then it's Furbs on those soft compound tyres, leader of those who have already stopped in this race. Then it's Uncle Pete next, and then a little bit further back it is Yad, also having stopped in this race and gotten those medium tyres out the way early in this one. And Jester runs down in last position, having done a slightly longer stint on the mediums at the start of this race. But a lot of others will be doing one stops, so that is something to also watch out for, as Pete has another wobble at the exit of Ascari, so a common theme we are seeing here. But anyway, on board with J-Dog, Furbs gets through in a straight line. J-Dog doesn't make that too difficult. Furbs moves up into 7th position, and J-Dog slots in behind as further up the road we see Sparrow coming through Parabolica and getting a little bit sideways on the exit, but keeps pointing in the right direction. And now into the pits comes J-Dog. And it will be the soft compound tyres going on for J-Dog. 6 laps on the mediums was quite enough. And now as we continue on to lap 7, we have to box this lap, otherwise we're going to run out of fuel. We did use a few high fuel maps throughout this stint just to try and keep pace, but we've gone too deep into turn 1 and just decided to hit the brakes there instead of coming back onto the road in front of Tita, and repeating what Artsy did back on lap 1. So decided to make sure we don't cause an incident there and carry on, because ultimately I know Tita's not really in the same race as I am. Tita is more than likely planning a one stop and is realistically about 50 seconds up the road already. But anyway, here's the onboard. We just misjudged the braking point. I was really happy with being able to hold that sort of margin to Tita for a little bit, just to have that little bit of a buffer. He wasn't really gaining too rapidly for a while, so I was really happy with that. But yeah, that little mistake breaking a bit too late was quite costly. But anyway, got Jester making the move on Yad there, and starting to move forwards in this race once again as we head into Parabolica, and it's time for us to head into the pit lane because we're basically out of fuel at this point. We need to top up on fuel and get the medium tyre stint out of the way in the middle phase of this race. And I'm going to plan for a 5-lap stint here, do 5 laps on the mediums, and then we'll switch to the softs again for the end of the race, so I have something to fight with in terms of tyre grip. I know I can do 8 laps if I'm saving as much fuel as possible, so I'll do an 8-lap stint to the end on the softer compound fuel save when there'll be less fighting away with other cars. Banana Notto's also into the pits for softs, and Sparrow's in for mediums as well on this lap just behind us. But as we continue to watch Sean back on circuit, Jester makes the move down the inside and gets past Uncle Pete at the Variante del Retefilo, and gets the move done very nicely there with this wonderful camera angle. I'm not sure if I've actually seen that one before, so it's very cool. But we get going again. We remain ahead of Sparrow, but Banana Notto has managed to get the jump. So yeah, that already starts to show the impact that our lack of fuel mileage in the Chevy Nova will have on us throughout this race. If we can only manage 8 laps in a stint at best, and Bonanotto is planning a 13-lap stint, that's more than 60% better fuel mileage. That's just crazy. I can barely fathom that. There's nothing I can do in the car to even remotely match that. But anyway, Yad gets the move done on Pete, moves up another position, and we'll carry on as Tita brings the Superboat into port. That's actually starboard side, I think. But anyway, brings it into the pits and gets a new set of tyres on. And we'll carry on. That's the medium tyres going on for John Tita. And no fuel going on, I don't think. So, very quick stop there for John Tita. And we'll likely be doing just 1 lap on the mediums. So, similar to the Ferb's strategy, but just doing that stint in the middle of the race as we watch Uncle Pete bring it around the final corner and into pit lane. And it will be the soft compound tyres going on for Uncle Pete. And a load of fuel as well to get to the end of the race. Hopefully he treats those tyres a bit more nicely than that first set of mediums. But anyway, that pit stop will move us up into 9th position. We've got now Uncle Pete and Sparrow behind us. So, you know, I'm sort of thinking this is where our real track position is, because we do still have another stop to make. Some others don't. I'm not sure what Sparrow's really doing at this point. Yeah, strategy will continue to play out as Artsy comes into the pits from the race lead, and we'll move on to the medium tyres, and we'll load up with fuel. So Artsy may be taking those tyres to the end as we get it all wrong at the second chicane, the Del Roger chicane. Yeah, I don't really know what happened there, just a lapse of concentration. Tried to get away with the cut, but got the reset instead. Jokin comes into the lane, gets rid of the medium tyres he started the race on, so all that great work he did was on the mediums, which just shows the speed Jokin's had throughout this race. Tita gets rid of those medium compound tyres as well after just 1 lap, puts the soft compound tyres on. So a busy pit lane as the fuel goes on for Tita as well. And as we come down towards the first corner, even with 2 pit stops, Tita's come out right in front of us, and I know we don't have a chance of chasing him down. He's got a better pace than us, but yeah, that was a little bit frustrating. That would have been very satisfying if we were able to come back out in front, but unfortunately we don't have the pace on the mediums, and either way we'll be coming into the pits very soon. Picked up a 1-second penalty though at the first chicane. Not happy about that really, but anyway. Yeah, very kind of odd. It was only I thought wasn't too big of a shortcut, so I've certainly got away with more at other parts of the circuit. But anyway, this is going to be probably one of the most frustrating parts of the race to watch, as Uncle Pete was getting blue flagged, did the right thing, pulled over, Verbs goes through, and then immediately decides it's a good time to make a pit stop. So very, very frustrating for Uncle Pete. We've all done it before at times, I'm sure, but yeah, it's an annoying thing when you let someone go with the blue flags and they immediately pit. But anyway, Verbs makes the pit stop as well as Yad, and they both switch to a brand new set of soft compound tyres. And we're actually catching up to Yad here. We'll get past while Yad is still refueling, so Yad might be in the same sort of race as us. It's really hard to tell at this point as we head into the first corner. We're under pressure from Sparrow at the moment. He has managed to catch up after the few mishaps earlier in the race, and yeah, we are just holding our own at the moment. I know Sparrow's got more pace, but the longer I can hold on to this position, you know, when we switch onto the soft compound tyres later in the race, you know, the better it will be. Not sure if we're really in the same race. It's really hard to tell where anyone is at until, you know, the last few laps when you know everyone's made their final stops. But at the moment, we're just going to try and just run the fastest race we can, really. But anyway, Jester comes into the lane for another set of soft compound tyres. Remember, Jester stopped really early, about lap 4 I think, so we'll of course have needed to have made that stop later in this one. And as we come through the Ascari chicane, we'll be probably boxing on this lap as well. Sparrow got a great run through there. That's probably the section I've been struggling the most, and probably where I've been losing time most often is through that section. For some reason I just can't get it right through there. Not sure if it's the way this car takes that section or more likely the way I take it, but for some reason I just tend to lose a lot of time there. Saw it on the first lap as well when Artsy was all over me on the exit of Ascari, so yeah, it's certainly a weak point of the circuit for me. Yeah, Sparrow got the run but wasn't able to get through. But time for some more pit stops now. J-Dog is in for some medium compound tyres. We're in for a set of the softs that will carry for the rest of the race. Not sure why J-Dog's going to the mediums again actually, because he started on the mediums but perhaps wasn't satisfied with the wear on the softs. But anyway, Sparrow's also in for the softs as we now start pouring the fuel in, and rather infuriatingly, Sparrow has 10 to 11 less percent of fuel, which is around about 5 seconds, and that's more than enough for Sparrow to clearly get the jump ahead of us. And once again, the fuel mileage really costing us there, and you know, that's 5 seconds right there and then, and Sparrow got the jump and is actually right behind J-Dog now. So yeah, really shows the importance of having a nice efficient car, and we just don't have that here. Despite having some pretty good pace to fight with, we just don't have the fuel mileage to stay competitive in this race, and through both pit stops we've lost positions. So that's pretty frustrating to see it play out that way, but nonetheless, this has been a really fun race, and you know, we might be able to fight back for a couple of positions, despite the fact we've dropped down into last place now. You know, hopefully we can gain a few back as J-Dog lets Sparrow through. Bit of a shame. I was hoping they'll fight a bit more, because I think Sparrow's definitely got the pace to drive away from us. But anyway, we catch up to Uncle Pete as we head into Ascari. This is still on our outlap. Uncle Pete getting a bit sideways through there, but keeps it on the track on the exit. And now we'll see if we can get the run towards Parabolica. We're reasonably close, probably not close enough to make a move, so we'll stay in behind it for the time being. And oh, straight into the back of Uncle Pete there. He broke a lot earlier than I was expecting, to be completely honest. The brakes on this Chevy Nova are actually very good, probably better than a lot of the other cars in this series, and I was just a bit caught out by that. I was, you know, braking, you know, maybe slightly before my usual reference, but obviously the brakes on Uncle Pete's car not as good, and I didn't quite anticipate that. But we've got a good run towards turn 1 now. We'll make the move down the inside, and we should get this done nicely, and we'll move ourselves ahead up into P10 now. So, you know, worst, you know, I think we can get top 10 in this race. I think we've got the pace to stay ahead of Uncle Pete. We are max fuel save at the moment, just to make sure we can get to the end. I might be able to turn it up for a lap or two, but we'll have to see. Let's have a little check-in with the running order though. Artsy leads the way on the medium tyres, remember, but going to the end. Then it's Banana Notto, Ferbs and Joken all very close together in this fight for the podium places, including the race lead. Then it's John Teeter, not all that far behind in the Superboats, having a great race, but gets it sideways on the exit of turn 2, off the road for John Teeter, and that's going to cost a whole heap of time, and maybe even a position as Jester goes through up into P5. John Teeter down to P6, and a disastrous little moment there for John Teeter, costing a position and a whole bunch of time in the Superboat. You have to go a long way back down the road though to find the next car. Yad running down in P7, having a solid race, but not really too many cars around. Then it's Sparrow running in 8th position, again a fair way behind Yad. Then it's Jay Diggity Dog running down in P9, and myself giving chase in P10, and Uncle Pete really not letting me go either. So Uncle Pete's still well in this fight with myself, but we go on board now, and we're on board with Joken through the Ascari chicane. Runs it out a bit wide, and a big wobble on the exit, manages to save it. But that's probably the biggest moment Joken's had all race, as we go into super fast forward mode on board with myself for a lap here, and we'll just monitor that gap with J-Dog and see how it evolves over the course of the lap as we now work our way through the Del Roger chicane. And we're putting this lap together fairly nicely. I'm really trying to push the limits at the moment and minimize mistakes, because I really want this position. It's right there, and I would hate to think that those couple of mistakes I made earlier, the one lap 7 I think it was, when Tita got through when I made the mistake at the first chicane, and the reset I got a bit later at the second chicane. I really don't want to have those mistakes to blame for not having this position at the end of the race. So I really want to close this gap to J-Dog, but unfortunately on that lap it just doesn't seem to be happening. We just don't quite have the pace to close that margin. Our pace is actually very, very similar, but I am absolutely driving the wheels off to try. But further up the road, someone else who's driving the wheels off the car is Ferbs, who is really had a great race so far. Started P11, remember, now running in the podium places, so it's already been a fantastic drive for Ferbs in the Camaro. Finished second last time out in Tokyo, looking to perhaps repeat that here, and closing into Banana Notto into Ascari. Not quite making the move there, but there's definitely opportunity for a move for Ferbs in the very near future. And looking nice and gripped up in that car at the moment, very stable, and now has the run, and will get the move done easily along the main straight to get the move done on Bananoso. And Ferbs moves up into second position, and the strong drive gets even stronger. Now Artsy is the only one remaining, and Artsy's on the medium tyres, remember, so Ferbs is in a fantastic position in this race, now the lead runner of the soft compound tyre. Oh, and look at that, Jokin getting through as well. So Jokin up into the podium places now. It's been a fantastic race from the pair who started on the back row. Who says qualifying's important? Not at Monza in Trans Am racing, that's for sure. And now Ferbs is catching up to Artsy, maybe even thinking about making the move into Ascari to the outside. Surely this isn't going to work as they head side by side. Ferbs is going to back out of that one. Not going to try and go full send around the outside of Artsy. That's not going to work. But perhaps on the exit there may be an opportunity here. Power down for Ferbs, and has got the straight line speed to get the move done and move up into the race lead. And now Ferbs takes it with ease there along the run towards Parabolica, covers the inside line just to make sure, but Ferbs up into the race lead. It's been a fantastic drive, and with just a few laps to go, Ferbs has taken the top position, and there doesn't seem to be much that can stop him now. Jokin also has some decent pace, so Jokin is definitely one to watch, and it's worth mentioning that all three of these top drivers in the race right now have never won a Trans Am race before. Not Ferbs, and not Artsy, and not Jokin. It's kind of hard to believe actually, but that is the statistic the top three hold at the moment. We will almost certainly get a new winner at the end of this one. Jester, I think, is closing up to this fight as well, gradually, and in 5th place, still pushing hard in this one. And Tita still holding down a P6. Real shame that Tita is not still up there and trying to close into that top 3, because he really did have a great run in that Superbird until that spin. But anyway, back on board with myself. You'll notice we've moved up into fuel map 4 now, giving ourselves a little bit more horsepower to play with, and I've calculated, if my maths is correct, that we can go to the end in this fuel map just. So I'm hoping I've worked that out right, and hopefully this little bit of extra horsepower will just give us enough to catch up to J-Dog and start cutting into that margin, because ever since we came out of pit lane, basically, that margin has been absolutely locked at 5 seconds. It's gone a few tenths either way, but never more than about half a second at most. And as we bounce off the inside wall there, we've already gained a chunk of time on J-Dog in this fuel map, so it is making a difference already in just half a lap. So yeah, we are still in this fight despite not having cut into that margin much in the first 5 laps of this stint. But yeah, we still have a chance, as J-Dog got a bit sideways there. That could explain some of the margin we were able to close in. And Uncle Pete is still in this fight. Let's not forget Uncle Pete. He's not far behind me, so I still can't afford a single mistake because Uncle Pete is right there, ready to pick up the pieces. So it might be the fight for the last 3 positions, but this is hotly contested. And we are going to be pushing as hard as we can to make sure we can come away with the best result possible. But further up the road, we've got Jokin making the move down the inside of Artsy into the Del Roger chicane, and gets the move done on Artsy there. Moves up into 2nd position for Jokin. So yeah, it's now a 1-2 for the pair who started on the back row. Why do we even qualify? I'm not sure. But anyway, as we continue on, just 2 laps of the race to go now, and we have really closed the margin to J-Dog by around about 2 seconds on that lap alone. So we can definitely, if we keep up that rate of closure, we can definitely catch him by the end of the race. It's just a matter of not making any mistakes and making sure we continue this pace as best we can. And you know, the tyres are still in reasonable condition. A little bit worn, especially on the front left, but not too bad. And remember, J-Dog is on the mediums, so we've already got that advantage of having the softer compound on the car. And one of the real advantages of this car, even though the fuel is absolutely awful, the tyres are incredible, and the tyre wear on this car is almost nothing compared to some of the other Trans Am cars. So it is absolutely amazing on its tyres, and you don't really notice the tyre wear too much over a stint, and that's really going to start paying dividends for us towards the end of this race, as we head towards Ascari, less than a second away from J-Dog. Now we go deep. We both go deep into Ascari, so the same mistake for both of us there. We followed him in, J-Dog on the slide. We get a bit of a nicer apex there on the exit of Ascari, and now we've got a bit of a run on the exit towards Parabolica. Can we do anything here? We have a little think about it, but J-Dog's burning the fuel to try and stay in front, and pulls away. So as we head into the braking zone, are we going to be able to do anything? Not here. We'll try and set up a good run onto the main straight and maybe be able to get the move done there. We switch it back very nicely, and we have the tyre grip to get the move done with the switchback, and we move ourselves into 9th position with 1 lap to go. And that was a satisfying move to pull off after trying for the last 7 laps to close that margin that just wouldn't budge for the longest time. To be able to get that move done was really, really cool. Once we were able to burn that bit of extra fuel we had at the end, it made all the difference. And there's the replay of the move. Getting it done, and J-Dog clearly struggling with his tyres. Here's the onboard with the HUD information for J-Dog, and look at those tyres in the bottom left. They are trashed, and they're the mediums. We're on softs, and they're not even half as worn as that, so that really shows how good the Nova is on its tyres, you know, versus the Mustang Boss in this case. But round the final corner comes Street Style, and Mr. Ferbs is going to take his first win in Trans Am Racing. Season 3, Round 4 at Monza will go to Ferbs. What a race from last place on the grid. Jokin second from second last. What a race this has been. Artsy will bring it home. Coaster home for 3rd. Jester will zoom on through for 4th ahead of Banana Notto. What on earth has happened between this lot? There was clearly something strange going on there at the final corner. We'll go on board with Banana Notto here. And Artsy holding 3rd, bit of a wobble and very slow on the exit. And now I think they're both out of fuel, and Jester goes zooming on through. I think what happened there, Artsy ran out of fuel. Jester had the best view of it all. A bit of a squabble between them, and shortest line to the finish. Couldn't quite get Artsy, but was able to steal a position at the end there from Banana Notto. Very unfortunate. Here's the onboard looking rearwards from Artsy, and you can hear the car just spooling down. No more fuel going into that engine, and but Banana Notto had nowhere to go. Jester took the free position. John Teeter will bring the Superbird round the final corner, and bring the boat into the harbour in P6. Bit further back down the road, Yad is just heading along towards Parabolica now. It's been a pretty lonely race for Yad, really, especially in these later phases. Has a pretty big gap to both the car in front and the car behind, and we'll just bring it around the final corner in 7th position and completes a sure and steady drive to 7th position. And they have a very similar gap back to Sparrow as it was from Tita to Yad. And yeah, Sparrow will bring around the final corner upon his return to the Trans Am Series. It'll be an 8th place finish in that Camaro, wriggling through the final corner, and we'll cross the line. We'll actually be the last driver to actually record a race time. The race finish delay setting was actually a bit short by about 30 seconds, so for the three of us at the back, myself, J-Dog on the big slide there, and Uncle Pete, we actually didn't quite have time to finish the race before the timer cut out, and we were all just stopped. So that was a little bit sad. So J-Dog and Uncle Pete were drifting around the Lesmos and yeah, putting on a show for the last few seconds of the race. But yeah, anyway, that is the order we finished in this one. The race time thing didn't affect the results at all. We caught a bit of a glimpse of J-Dog getting the slide on there. But yeah, as you can see, we've got 35 seconds left now, with a lot more than that left of the lap. I was racing the clock, wondering if we could quite get there, but unfortunately, as I said, it wasn't to be. If the timer was maybe 10 seconds longer, I think we would have made it to the finish line. It was that close, but unfortunately not the case. But there is something of note about the finishing positions of everyone in this race. It is the first time everyone has finished on the lead lap in a Trans Am race, which shows, I guess, how much of a competitive circuit this is, and how competitive everyone has become, which is really cool. No one finishing a lap down in this race in a field of 11. That's a pretty cool stat to come out of this race. But let's look to the top of the list. First win for Ferbs. First fastest lap for Ferbs. Let's not miss that as well. Ferbs got the fastest lap on the final lap of the race, so that is another point for Ferbs in his championship tally. And yeah, that will very much help his championship standings, because it is oh so close, from second down to about 5th, I think. So it'll be interesting to see how all that looks. We'll check it out in a moment. Another stat coming out of this race, on a more personal note, is that I think it's the first time I've finished on the lead lap since the race win at Daytona. Maybe the only other time, to be honest. And definitely the first time at a circuit. So that was really cool. This is, definitely the best drive I've had at a circuit with both left and right corners. So despite the fact there were still a few mistakes, I don't think they really affected my end result. I don't think I had the pace for Sparrow either way. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the end result. But anyway, let's go check out the championship standings. Alrighty, so here are the updated championship standings after the 4th round at Monza. Tita is now officially the champion. Well done. There was never really any doubt, but we can always dream that we'll have a championship that goes down to the final race, but unfortunately it wasn't meant to be this season. And John Tita is now a 2-time Trans Am champion, Season 1 and Season 3. Ferbs jumps all the way up into 2nd position in the standings, 88 points, tied with Artsy in 3rd, but Ferbs ahead based on having a win. And also worth noting, Ferbs has more room for improvement as well, his worst result being a Blue Moon Bay, scoring 24 points. Artsy's worst result of the 3 that count, I should emphasise, is the 27-point race at Grand Valley. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting between those two. Artsy will need to be performing at his very best at Le Mans in order to take that second place back. Banana just 4 points behind, and Jester only another 2 points behind. So they are all very, very close. And even Joken, I'd say, could get in amongst it there if Joken can have a good run in the final round, because Joken can drop that 18 points from Blue Moon Bay and easily jump a whole bunch of positions higher up into at least the low 80s in points, and mix it up with Jester and Banana if he can get on the podium. But anyway, that is really the championship contenders. 2 points between myself and Uncle Pete, so there's that little battle to play for as well. And Heafy, having only competed in 2 races, and everyone below not really having competed in enough races to have a representative points haul at the moment. So yeah, that is the championship standings, and that is going to be the end of the video. So thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I have been a little bit sick lately, so apologies if my voice is not 100%. It's been going on for about a week and a half, and on Tuesday, a couple of days ago, I could hardly get myself out of bed. It wasn't great, but anyway, feeling better now, and hopefully I'll be completely back to normal very soon. But thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. Please feel free to give me some feedback in the comments. It's always very helpful. Other than that, I'll see you in the next one, and goodbye.